Hey, good evening, everyone. Welcome to National Liberty Alliance's weekly call. Today is August 12th, 2024. We broadcast live every Monday from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Time. If you're listening over Rumble or YouTube or another network and you would like to ask a question or make a comment, you can go to nationallibertyalliance.org and click on our weekly call for instructions to join us by phone, app, or browser. If anyone would like to email a question, you can send your questions to questions, that's plural, questions, at nationallibertyalliance.org. Please support our business partners. You can find their banners on the right-hand side of our website, of which the proceeds go to support NLA's effort to save our republic. Also, please support NLA by donating $5 a month or more. You can click on our donation tab on the top right side of our website. Okay, we're going to begin with scripture reading. Tonight we're going to be looking at the book of Psalms. Let me see, it's going to be chapter 23. So Psalms chapter 23, read by Alexander Scorby.
Psalm 33. Rejoice in the Lord, O ye righteous, for praise is comely for the upright. Praise the Lord with harp. Sing unto him with the psaltery and an instrument of 10 strings. Sing unto him a new song. Play skillfully with a loud noise. For the word of the Lord is right, and all his works are done in truth. He loveth righteousness and judgment. The earth is full of the goodness of the Lord. By the word of the Lord were the heavens made, and all the host of them by the breath of his mouth. He gathereth the waters of the sea together as an heap. He layeth up the depth in storehouses. Let all the earth fear the Lord. Let all the inhabitants of the world stand in awe of him. For he spake, and it was done. He commanded, and it stood fast. The Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect. The counsel of the Lord standeth forever, the thoughts of his heart to all generations. Blessed is the nation whose God is the Lord, and the people whom he hath chosen for his own inheritance. The Lord looketh from heaven, he beholdeth all the sons of men. From the place of his habitation he looketh upon all the inhabitants of the earth. He fashioneth their hearts alike, he considereth all their works. There is no king saved by the multitude of an host. A mighty man is not delivered by much strength. An horse is a vain thing for safety, neither shall he deliver any by his great strength. Behold, the eye of the Lord is upon them that fear him, upon them that hope in his mercy, to deliver their soul from death, and to keep them alive in famine. Our soul waiteth for the Lord. He is our help and our shield. For our heart shall rejoice in him, because we have trusted in his holy name. Let thy mercy, O Lord, be upon us, according as we hope in thee.
Okay, I hit that wrong button there. Let me get this back open. But just before we get started, just let everybody know we did open the queue already, so queue is open. Anybody wants to get into the queue, if you're on a phone, it's *6 and 1. If you're on an app or the browser, there should be a button there to get into the queue. Okay, Jan, do we have any questions tonight or any announcements? If you're talking, you're muted. Jan, you there? All right, maybe Jan's got a problem or he's away from the computer. Terry, do you know if we have any questions for tonight?
Yeah, there are about 3 questions, and I haven't reviewed them, but I can get to them.
And who do you want on the team? And it's not to say that, like,
let's see.
By the way, you get some noise coming through the background there.
Yeah, I think I found it. I wasn't prepared well enough. Okay, question. If the U.S. Constitution does not recognize the American Bar Association, does each state in America have to have their state constitution recognize the ABA before we, the people, have to obey the ABA in our prospective states?
Well, look at the founding fathers talked about this problem early on, and I know they mentioned something in the Constitution concerning, titles of honor. But I guess they must have really, well, I guess they made a mistake here somewhere because they didn't put in there anything for foreigners as far as having, titles of honor. And titles of honor is the key here. So in 1910, proposal was put up for the original 13th Amendment, and of course that came through, and I believe it was became law in 1818, I believe. So I don't know if I said 19 before, but it was 1810, and it became law in 1818. And that forbid ultimately bar attorneys. It was written specifically to get bar attorneys out of our courts because they already were starting to really destroy our justice system. They were moving throughout America, going back in as far as 1750, moving our courts into courts of chancery. So by the time we became a nation, already a lot of courts were already operating as chancery courts. And our founding fathers saw that as a big problem. And of course, that's what caused the 13th Amendment to come about. So there is the Bar Association claims that they give out the bar licenses. They're not capable of giving out, not bar license, but license in order to practice law. There is no such thing as a license to practice law. It's an unalienable right to be able to go into a courtroom and take care of your own business. So there is no requirement to get some kind of a license. But, they have made all our courts chancery courts. They all operate under civil law. And in their courts, they don't want anybody in there that isn't, playing the game. And of course, usually whenever I go into a court, there's always that big argument in the beginning dealing with the fact that I'm coming in, particularly if I'm representing someone or helping somebody. They go through changes trying to prevent that from happening. But generally, we've been able to get through that part. But in any event, the Bar Associations, the people, the lawyers that were taught by the Bar Associations, which is every judge out there as far as the federal and the state levels are concerned, they're all approved by the Bar Association. Prosecutors are all approved by the Bar Associations. If you're going to go into court and make your argument, they try to keep bar lawyers. Of course, it's bar-controlled juries, whether it's a trial jury or a petit jury. They stack the juries to get their final results, what they want. So there is no courts of justice. All of that, of course, is unlawful. And we have to resurrect the 13th Amendment, the original 13th Amendment. As a matter of fact, the papers that we'll be putting in, I think we're about 23 points that we're making of what they have done to destroy our courts of justice. And so we're making each one of those points, and one of those points is, of course, the solution for those points, because we give also the solution. The solution to that particular problem is to resurrect and bring back and expose the hidden 13th Amendment and combine the 13th and the 14th Amendment as we understand today, combine that into one amendment being the 14th Amendment, and that would be the way to correct that problem. But as far as the Bar Association is concerned, even if, it would never be in the Constitution, and if it was, it's repugnant, it'd be null and void. So, okay, next question.
Okay, John. Let me pull it up here. This one gets what you might call quite long, so I'm not sure exactly where to start. Oh, the one you asked and answered was Jim Barr's. Okay. My wife of 43 faithful years, summarily and without notice, rudely and secretly left me 18 months ago and is now filing for divorce. based on irreconcilable differences. I had almost forgotten, but after our Colorado marriage license in 1981, we saw other families losing their children due to insistence on homeschooling. So after 2 years of marriage, we made the decision to rescind and nullify our state marriage due to the fear of state intrusion in our family. We finished our last 35 years in Texas. Now that my wife is revolting, I am considering filing a motion to dismiss her petition here in this Texas county court based on my affidavit of rescission. Some say the judge will ignore it and rule over my intentions. Would any of your members have any thoughts or experience on this?
I'm not too sure I understand the question. Read that last part again. I guess the question was in there.
Yeah, it was buried in there. Now that my wife is revolting, I'm considering filing a motion to dismiss her petition here in Texas in this county court based on my affidavit of rescission. Some say the judge will just ignore it and rule over my intentions. Would you have any thoughts or experience with this?
No, I don't really have anything particularly, but I think he said in the paper that they had originally got married with a state license and then revoked that state license or something. Isn't that how it started?
Yeah, well, they were married for 2 years and then nullified their license because they were worried about the state coming after their children because apparently they were doing homeschooling.
Okay, so then at that point, the family system, court system that sets up divorce court, they don't have any jurisdiction at all over you because you don't have a license. So it can go directly into the court. But I will tell you, I've been through one divorce case. I helped someone with that, walked them through the whole system. Found it to be pretty easy to go through. And not too long ago, I assisted another individual to go through the court system, basically giving advice and, because really people can go through that system without a lawyer. Lawyers only make things worse. People who don't understand the law, haven't been paying attention, they don't understand that at all. But if you're going to go through a divorce, there is a plan that they've got laid out. I'll tell you what, though, the plan is pretty balanced, I think, as far as the process and how things work. The key thing to people who really want to get a divorce, of course, they should try to work that marriage out first of all. But the key thing trying to get a divorce, really, we try to sit down with your spouse and work out all the details and come to a settlement prior to going into the court. And then you're going into the court only to solidify it. There's no connection with lawyers or judges at all. And so if one can convince the other spouse to do this, that would definitely be the way to go. Of course, you've got to be willing and ready and able to negotiate. And I also would suggest to take a look at they have a plan layout on how they break things up. And so you can go to any divorce court, go to the clerk, or just go online, really, and you can download the whole plan of family court. It's really quite simple, really. A lot of paperwork to fill out, a lot of details to put together. But generally speaking, you can go through each one of these, different categories that have to be concluded in order to come to an agreement and end up with a divorce. You could do that all on your own. You don't need to go to court on that. Unfortunately, all too often, people who are divorcing usually get into such a situation, a lot of anger, almost to the point of hatred, and they only hurt themselves. The lawyers are involved. If there's a problem with one of the kids and you have children, or young especially, you'll have 5 or 6 lawyers, and they can't agree on anything. And it's just more money, more chaos, more problems, and that's it. Now, as far as the divorce is concerned, there is a common law, of course, marriage, and so living that long, you are married. if someone violates the marriage, like cheating, for instance, that in itself could create a big problem for them, the one who cheated, to get the benefits of what the balance is on that particular, process that they have set up. So anyway, that's the only advice I can really advise. No matter how much argumentative you and your spouse is going through, you really got to find a way to sit down and talk it out and put it on paper in a civilized way. Maybe even get a counselor. If you're a Christian, get a Christian counselor, and really work things out. And then just file the papers in the court. It's a matter of process at that point. There's no interruption. There's no argument. There's no debate. You could come in a way just to solidify it. I'm not sure how you would couch it, but I think you could probably work it out where there really is necessarily no plaintiff and no defendant. I'd have to think about that, on how to couch that. But in any event, that's my thoughts on getting a divorce.
Okay, this next one is long. It's about a homeowners association. This person has been taking the course and going through the website. And she has so far been able to reduce what she calls an illegal reappraisement of her property by only $4,000. But she's going and appealing that. She says they have a land trust covenant which reduces the authorized value or actualized value to only 60 to 70% of market value. The problem is they did not follow the law, ignored the covenant, and did not properly evaluate our home. This is not so complicated, but in the appeal I know it can only be about some things, and I cannot do much, if any, arguing in my case. They did not follow the exact words of the statute as required by law. The statute uses many things that are quite clear, and all were ignored. You mention in the class and the book that you need to be the plaintiff, but I am so unsure of what to motion for to accomplish this. Can you point me to a part of the class that will teach me how to do that? I know I need to apply pressure on the judge to make sure they follow the law, not the edicts of an old lister who never even went to the class to be one. I have one example of their crazy way they are doing things. They, in the last BCA meeting I attended, stated the house was unmarketable due to its need for repair. They also raised my value from $129,700 to $155,000. This after they raised my value from $129,700 to $209,000 without using the proper covenant formula, and then added another $100,000 plus more to the valuation, to which they never saw the whole house or inside until after the first appeal. They added deductions, and again in violation of the law did not properly use the formula stated to properly evaluate the homestead. I know that unless the judge is a fool, we will win, because they cannot do what they did by not following the law. But if you can answer my above question, I will be forever grateful.
Okay, that above question was way in the beginning. I don't know if you can find it.
Well, yes, she's just trying to, everything they did on the appraisal, she says, was in violation of the law, and she's trying to decide how to attack that.
Well, generally speaking, we don't get too deep into homeowners association. I don't think we really addressed it directly in our course at all. But it's a court case, and it's a contract case, and they've got a copy of the contract, and you want to go through the contract and list all the violations, and that's how you would win. It's that simple. Building the facts showing that they violated this agreement, they violated that agreement, and so on. They didn't follow this process. Maybe when they made depreciation of the house or an assessment, and so on and so forth. So, I mean, that's all I can really say. It sounds like you already understand the problem. So again, just go through it step by step. The other thing is I don't know that you really want a judge in this. You're going to want to probably get a jury in this. I think you have better results with the jury than you will with the judge. So that's the first thing. The other thing, of course, the big problem is making sure you get a jury that has been fully informed, free and independent, and it's up to you to make sure that happens. I haven't been in a situation yet where I took anything into court and made it to a jury where we can get the jury to make the decisions, because then it's going to be another uphill battle trying to properly inform the jury of their powers and authorities and what their duty is. But you can beat that out because, in a lot of cases, because lawyers are brain dead. They got all these forms and different things that they do, and they're really not thinkers, I don't think. I mean, you do get some lawyers, I'm sure, that are thinkers, but generally speaking, the run-of-the-mill lawyers, they're not thinkers at all. And you could throw them off base really simply. But what you want to do is get things into your case early on, so that, and if they don't rebut it to try to keep it out of your case, then you have every right to bring that up in the case. And one of the things I would do is maybe get the handbook that we have and put it into, cut and paste and put it into paragraphical forms pretty much. I wouldn't put it in there, in the handbook itself in there, but generally speaking, really the paragraphs that are written within that, get that into that concerning the jury. Under a memorandum maybe, and get it in that way. If they don't argue to reject that, then it's in. But either way, if you do get it in, you're going to have a problem with the judge, because he's going to say, hey, they don't get to decide the law, blah, blah, blah. That's my job. And then you got to make that argument. You want to get another memorandum in. And again, the other thing is laying out any case, especially if you're going to go before a jury, you want to do a PowerPoint. So PowerPoints are very powerful, and you can lay out the law with PowerPoints. You can lay out the duty and the requirements and the liberties of a jury. You can lay all that out in PowerPoints. It's very powerful because it's visual as much as audio, and it keeps people awake. So that's all I can advise on, really. But it's an uphill battle. You're going to have a fight all the way through trying to get that done with the jury. But generally speaking, going into the case and making the case, if you do it before a judge, you've got an appellate process. If you go before a jury, there is no appeal. Unless there was a violation or a problem with the jury, which violated yours or somebody else's unalienable rights, then that can be corrected. But other than that, there's no way to overthrow a jury trial. They do it anyway. When they don't like it, they'll do it. And people, we're all so brain dead, we let them get away with all this because we don't know any better. That's why it's important to have a proper education, to be able to protect yourself, to understand the law, how due process works, and so on. So, but anyway, that's all I got. All right, next question.
I am wanting to become a jury administrator and have a question with what committee to choose from. I am 1 hour north of Indianapolis. My other question is, after I complete the process, am I sure to get a job as a jury administrator?
Yeah, let's correct that. The first part of that question, they want to become a jury administrator, but then they say something about trying to decide what subcommittee is. What are they talking about at that point?
Well, it just says what committee to choose from.
Okay, I don't understand what that means.
Well,
every county needs a committee of safety, and until that county gets a committee of safety, they're in jeopardy because there is no government by consent. There is no such thing as government by consent without a committee of safety. It does not exist. You do not have it. As much as you think you have it, you don't have it. Proven by the fact that they've torn our constitution apart. They destroyed our justice system, our political process. They've destroyed everything in America. They destroyed our money. They've destroyed everything. So that proves that fact that we don't really have much of anything to say because we're ignorant to the fact on how to have government by consent. Of course, that was the reason why I wrote the book, Government by Consent. And the Committee of Safety is key. And you can call that Committee of Safety anything you want. You know, they are the original committeemen. That's who they were. Our founding fathers used the word Committee of Safety. They used committeemen. That was the process. That was the way that they created this nation. That's the way they ruled themselves before we became a nation. And that's how they came together to execute the Declaration of Independence. Of course, the two Continental Congresses were all called together by the Committee of Safety. Every one of our founding fathers were members of the Committee of Safety because that's how they built America. And it was intended that the Committees of Safety continue in order to have government by consent to keep control over the whole process. Now, the reason I'm getting into that is because once you become an administrator within the system, within the court system, at some point in time there needs to be a Committee of Safety to help or assist that situation to prevent any problems that might come up, because it would be the power of the people within the Committee of Safety to be the final deciders if there was a problem, for instance, with one of the administrators. If one of the administrators is not maintaining and keeping his vow to God, that means to come in with a sense of honor, justice, and mercy in everything they do, and they're not doing that, that's the major violation. Then the other three can, kick them out, so to speak. There could be a problem with that. But that's where the Committee of Safety would come in. But nevertheless, if it was a 50-50 situation, well, now you need a decider, and you surely don't want to take it into the court system. You want to take it to the people, and so you would take that to the Committee of Safety. And the Committee of Safety we have written up as the final arbiters of those situations. So that's really, what needs to be done. But there is nothing to decide. Jury administrators really are there. It's a paid position. It's a career position. We're taking really the power and the authority away from the powers that be, so to speak. They control who gets onto the grand jury and the trial jury. They control what they teach them, and so on and so forth. I mean, here in New York, we call them the commissioner. What is it? The commissioner of jurors. Okay, and that's all bar members. So everything is run by bar members, and that's a big problem, and that's what we have to get rid of. Getting rid of a lot of these problems is really resurrecting the original 13th Amendment, and that's how we get rid of a lot of our court problems. Again, I'm working on a paper right now. I'm far more ahead of it than I thought I would be. I thought it would take me many weeks to a month to really get this paper out, but it's been going pretty quick, and I'm kind of hoping maybe in the next week or two to start sharing this. Not sure when we're going to file it, and it's going to be couched as a presentment from the grand jury to the United States Supreme Court for the sole purpose of fulfilling their oaths by guaranteeing to us, we the people, a Republican form of government. And with a Republican form of government, which is a natural law in our case, or a natural law republic, then we have to have courts of justice, that which operates under the common law, and not just in equity. Equity is what needs to be just. Equity identifies really with justice, and in our case, it's justice under the common law because that's who we are. We're people. Until they made the Rules Enabling Act in 1934 and put it all together and executed in 1938. Prior to that, it was the rules of the common law that guided and controlled all of equity. And that's why if people were to sit in a case that had equity in it, and equity meaning man-made law, that's what equity is about, but it's a just man-made law. That's what it's supposed to be, that of justice. And so when they put that together, it was underneath the laws of nature and of nature's God. and therefore they have to follow the same rules. If you read through American jurisprudence, it's very, very much biblical. They quote the Bible, they quote the Magna Carta, and it brings everything under common law. So if you had a case, for instance, let's say under USC 18, where someone was hit with a criminal case, someone did a crime. Let's say they were operating somehow with some illegal commercial activity, interstate commercial activity. And this would be true on state too, if it's just operating within a state, But let's look at the high level, the federal level. So interstate commercial activity, and they now fall under and are subjected to the statutes, particularly in USC 18 and USC 28, and maybe various other places, because there's a. Let me think. There are. I think, if I recall. Let me think about this. Matter of fact, let me take a quick look at my notes, because I think it's trying to see how many titles there were. I know we've spoken about this before. If anybody knows it, they can pipe it in here. I'm just looking for it right now. Okay, I'm not really finding it too quickly, but I think it's something like 56 or 58 different titles of codes, and they all have a focus on a particular government agency, maybe the presidency, or some commercial activity, or Congress, or any other agencies, federal agencies. So those codes would then be able to be used in a court that is a criminal case against an individual that's operating under those conditions and agreed to those codes. So they already agreed to that. But if the jury finds that that it's repugnant to the natural law, they can nullify it. They can even nullify it just because they feel like nullifying it. For instance, maybe they might agree with it, but say in this case it doesn't work. We don't like it, so we'll nullify it and move on. So anyway, I think I answered the question.
Yep. Okay, the last question. Can you elaborate on move for cause to federal court, and how do you delay in federal court until after devolution?
Well, they love to really take their sweet time, and you'll get a lot of help from them. Look at how long things take in the cases that were watched, for instance, with Trump, and trying to go through the appeals and working their way up to the Supreme Court. So any case moving in right now, it takes time to build and put the case together. That in itself, going back and forth through discovery and making certain arguments, it's going to just take a lot of time. Again, it depends on the complexity of the case and so on and so forth. But moving for cause means it has to have a constitutional issue in it. So if you're in a state court or any other court other than a federal court, and there is a violation, a denial of due process, for instance, or some other constitutional violation, and it doesn't have to be directly to the Constitution. It could be an unalienable right. It's not listed necessarily in the Bill of Rights, for instance, but you have many rights, thousands of rights. People don't realize that. But in any event, there has to be a constitutional violation to move, and that is the only thing you could discuss in the court. So if you put your papers together properly, especially and generally speaking, it's usually a due process problem, a denial of due process, the inability to be able to give you due process. Well, with that, you bring it into the federal courts, and you can use that as a leverage to shut that case down for them to cease and desist. Period. End of subject. They're gone. But if you bring anything into that court and start arguing it, they're going to reject that case. Anything that's focusing in on the Constitution. So, for instance, whatever court you're in, whatever the issue is, you don't make that argument in the federal court. If you moved it to federal court for cause, which is really you're moving it, you're saying protect me from my rights because they're violating it, and I want you to protect me. And they have a duty. The federal judges have a duty to do that. Of course, they don't do that. They don't want to do that. They like the chaos because there's lots of money in chaos. So. All right.
That was the last question, John.
Okay. All right. We got Q&A open already. Anybody came in after we made the announcement, get into the queue. Star 6 and 1 if you're on. And
John, you said you wanted to talk about two people's questions that you dismissed last week because we ran out of time. And one of those callers is on here now. They're not in the queue yet.
all right, if you want to unmute them and see if they want to ask, we can take their question first. Can you unmute them, see if they want to give us the questions?
Yeah, certainly. I got to find them real quick. They were here. I think it's this. Oh, they just left. Can't help that.
Okay.
I started to click on them and they were gone.
All right. All right. I know. I think I mentioned something just a little earlier to do when we started up, but I'll mention it again. Hopefully the next 2 weeks or so, we're going to start sharing the paper that's going to be going into it's a presentment, and it's going to be directed to the United States Supreme Court. And I'd like to start reading it. It's good to read out loud because, I could read through things numerous times, and sometimes it's a mistake and you just don't see it. But when your tongue kind of trips over something, you say, there it is. So articulating it is helpful. So for that reason also, and also get people's comments on it, and also for the purpose of teaching, because this case is going to be an education itself. Right now, it's about, very close to 100 pages, 80, 90 pages, somewhere in there. So we're going to be over 100 pages on this paper, so we'll probably take pieces. Maybe we'll spend 20 minutes or a half hour every Monday just to read through parts of this, and hopefully people will start asking questions on these things. We really got to focus more on what we're doing here as far as building committees of safety, how to build a committee of safety, where do we get the information, getting into proper education. And the two major tabs that we have up here is your education starts here. Literally just click that right there on the blue bar, and you get the layout, the beginning of a breadcrumb trail, okay? On the other side of things, starting a committee of safety, if you click on that, again, you get sort of a little bit of an introduction, and it's the beginning of a breadcrumb trail that leads you through those processes. And this is what every American needs to know. We need to get this into our schools. Our children are being demoralized. They're being created into morons. They're being psychologically destroyed. But they don't know whether, you get a young child that's, maybe 10 years old, 9 years old, whatever, and trying to make the decision, should I use the girls' bathroom or the boys' bathroom? That problem actually exists. Now think about how screwed up that is psychologically for a child growing up under that. To come in and sit and be, come into a classroom and be entertained by woke individuals that totally confuse these children. Totally. Children are malleable. They're impressionable, and they're being demoralized. We need to do something, and it starts with your education. But we definitely have to get a good education to our children. We have to get the education that we put together here into the schools. We need to bring it down to a level for young children, to bring them through the introductory part, to lead them into the more difficult things, and get an education for the children that really works. And that's one of the things that the committees of safety are going to have to do. If we don't have committees of safety operating, we can't accomplish these things that we need to do. We need to educate the people in the community. We have to take back our political process. We've got to get rid of, not only do we have to get rid of bar attorneys and shut that whole system down and open up our courts of justice again, we also have to take our political process back. We have to get rid of the two-party system. There is no parties. There is no place for a political party in a natural law republic. It doesn't exist. It doesn't work out. It's an oxymoron. It's poison, okay? Because what are they doing? They're debating on your rights and trying to take your rights away. Look at what they passed. They passed they hid the 13th Amendment. They passed the 16th Amendment. They created debtors' prisons, which is repugnant to the common law, totally repugnant. Okay, they destroyed the balance of power with the 17th Amendment, and people just don't know this. They don't realize it. Well, I listen all day long to people on TV, commentators, people who really doing a good. Carlson, for instance. I listen to Donald Trump, and they all think we're a democracy. We got a problem to think we're a democracy. The whole democracy, this whole position of democracy in the Democrats was set up very early on. We're talking about going back into the arguments, in the Federalist Papers. That argument was being made and placed into the factor. And what they do, almost immediately, they created a Democratic Party. They had to get that into the mindset of the people. And so you got the Democrats and the Republicans, and today, Democrats and Republicans don't even realize the real issue of the argument that needs to be made: a republic or a democracy. What are we? And like a child, they don't know which bathroom to use. The same thing, the people, they don't know the difference between the two either. So we got to solve that problem. And the problem can only be solved with education. And therein is the purpose of National Liberty Alliance, is to educate the people, to bring people together, to communicate, to build committees of safety, to have and take control of their government, to have government by the consent of the people, take people out of power, put people into power. That's the power you have, to decide what goes on in the courts, that the people decide. No black-robed judge is supposed to decide anything on anybody without your permission, your acceptance. I mean, if you go into court and it's a contract argument, if it's a simple one, and we can trust our judges that they're going to follow their oath and be righteous and just, then many times we probably would choose, well, we'll have a judge just make the decision on it. There's an appellate process anyway. We can go through that system if they make a mistake, but we're presuming they're going to be doing the right thing. So therein, so people expect to be ignorant and free. Forget about it. Ain't going to happen. Jefferson. Okay. I guess with that, you didn't find that person, Terry, right?
Say again.
No, I did not.
Okay. All right. So we'll take our first person in the queue.
Oh, wait. She just showed up.
Okay.
Can I unmute her? Okay. It's one of these two.
Well, open the mic.
I opened the mic. Maybe I should open the other one. One of you two is the one I was thinking it was. Hello?
Hello?
Anybody out there?
Can you hear me?
Yes?
This is Andrew. I have an echo. I don't know.
Yeah, it's because we got too many mics open. Were you the person that we had to take one first, and when we opened up the Q&A this week, from last week?
Yes.
Okay, so let's start there, and maybe the other person is the second person. So go ahead. What's your question? We'll talk about that first.
My question.
Now, before we get started, though, I want to make this point. We do teach law course here. We've got a 90-hour law course. We're all about that, really. I mean, the Constitution is the law of the land. I mean, we're all about the law, and we want to talk about the law. But as far as specific cases, okay, we can't get too deep into them, but we can give some advice and some thoughts and ideas. But in order to understand the whatever we have to offer to be helpful to the person, in order to understand it and be able to put it somewhere within their framework of their mind, they're going to have to understand how the court system works. They have to understand due process. And so if you understand it because you've been involved with it for a while, that's one thing. And if not, we have a course here, or we take a course somewhere else, but you have to understand that because you have to know what to do with the information we'll give. But with that, we came to a decision a few weeks back, National Liberty Alliance's leadership. We discussed the issues and decided that on court cases we don't want to spend any more than 5 minutes. Of course, I may take a lot more time explaining something, but as far as 5 minutes, looking into details of a case or something, we don't want to get too deep in that. But go ahead with that. What's your name again? First name, and you're from Arizona?
Yes, Sandra.
Okay,
Sure.
go right ahead. Yeah, I believe we spoke before. You sound familiar.
Yes. You suggest that I should call today so you can discuss this an open meeting.
Okay. All right.
So I send you some emails.
Okay.
And I have let me ask you this first of all. I got echoes all over. How do I create this setup?
You have echoes? Is anybody's mic?
Yes.
Terry's mic is open. That's probably why. Let me mute
How about
her.
now?
Okay.
Like I'm talking twice.
It should be good now. I just muted Terry.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Sandra. Sandra, you still there? I don't know if we lost Sandra or not. Sandra, can you hear me? It sounds like you muted yourself or something because we're not hearing anything. All right, well, we'll try to come back to Sandra later. We're going to move on then. Jerome from North Carolina, you got the mic. Go right ahead.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yep, we can hear you. Oh, is that? I'm sorry, Jermaine, right? Not Jerome. Jerome. Jermaine,
yes.
North Carolina.
Yes. Yes, I just wanted to ask, by any chance, do you have any update on the Chevron case overturned, and have you had a chance to read that paper?
Really, I've looked a little bit at some of the synopsis on it. I've got it here on my computer right now. I have to read it. It's 114 pages. I haven't had time to read through it. But generally speaking, it appears, from what I understand, again, I haven't looked deep enough into it, but it appears that that they were making law. Federal agencies were making law off of law, trying to expand it further or add to it, and that was overturned. I haven't read through it all the way, and I have homework to do, and I just haven't had time yet.
Okay.
What's the question? I might be able to answer it anyway because, look, law is common sense. It's that simple. So.
Well, it got me kind of interested because I have like a mortgage situation that I used to have a mortgage with Wells Fargo, and I think they were sued and all that, and they ended up refunding me a check like for $1,300. But I wanted to find out more information to get like the real accounting behind the scenes that normally is not shared with the consumer. How do I go about that? And if
in other words, they're trying to make some kind of a settlement, and they're giving people money, and you're getting $1,400 or something. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and you're trying to understand what that settlement was about, and so on. Do you want to get the details, correct?
Yes, I want to see more of the paperwork and all that, and see if this is.
Well, the internet is an amazing tool. I had books, years ago I used to read a lot, read through books, a lot of technical books, different things. And today, of course, we have the internet. I used to have the great works. I had all of them. And, with the internet, you don't need them anymore. Matter of fact, we got most of the great books right up on our page. You can download them and read them on PDFs. My point that I'm trying to say is all you need to know is the name of the case. You put it into your search bar, and I usually put the name of the case and put PDF behind it, and usually that'll find you the case, and usually a PDF is the case itself. And like right now, right here, that's how I found this one here. This case here with the overturn of some of the decisions of the Chevron case. Okay, now this is Luper Price, hold on. Luper Bright Enterprises, ETAL, so a lot more people involved, versus Raimondo, Secretary of Commerce, ETAL. Okay, so I wouldn't know how to find that case, but I started to do some searching on, for instance, on that case, the Chevron case, looking for the latest, and it's very quick to find it. Just throw it in the search bar, and if you don't find it one way, throw a few other words, and you keep playing with it, and you'll find everything. Most of my research comes that way, that and through Black's Law and Bouvier's Law, those two dictionaries particularly. There's a lot of cases quoted in there, and a collection of other cases that I've got off of speaking with other people or things I found on the internet. So my education really is a computer education, through the internet. So you could find that case and then read through it, print it out, get a yellow highlighter, and read through it carefully and slowly, and sort of dissect it and start highlighting the things that jump out on you that, I need to know that. Oh, I didn't know that. That's a good point there. Just read through it slowly. Reading is the key thing to learning law. You want to learn law, you got to read. You don't want to read, you're not going to learn law.
Yeah, but even if I pulled the case, there's some information that it would not be on the case, like the true accounting that goes behind their screens. That I don't think that's something that they would put on the.
Well, you're looking for the case. You're looking for the arguments within the case.
No more like the actual accounting of it.
Well, look at the conclusion is the key. The decision of the Supreme Court is the key, because that becomes the law of the land. And if it is repugnant, then it's null and void, and you make your argument against it. There's a lot of, there's quite a few Supreme Court cases null and void. They're ridiculous, and they don't have any standing whatsoever. They're not even logical. I mean, look, Roe versus Wade is one problem. The Second Amendment, and again, that was recently corrected, overturned. You have the Second Amendment, where the Supreme Court has come out on a couple occasions in the past couple of years on the Second Amendment issue and corrected that. You have the Bible in school and prayer in school. That's something that needs to be overturned. That's something we're going to be working on. Matter of fact, it is one of the points to be worked on. We need to get the Bible back in school, because if our children do not know who the king of the court is, and they don't understand common law, I mean, how else are you going to learn this? And basically, the Bible is used mostly for reading and learning, learning to read and write ultimately, but it also builds moral character. And I found others were big on this, and that's, blessed is the nation. We played, what was that, Psalm 34, I think it was, or 33. Psalm 33, blessed is the nation whose God is Jehovah, whose God is the Lord. Whenever you read in the Bible, you see the word Lord, L-O-R-D, in capital letters. If you go into the Greek or the Hebrew, you'll find it's the word Jehovah. Okay, the Jews felt that name was so holy that it shouldn't even pass over our lips. So wherever they found it, they put capital Lord, L-O-R-D. But you can know, and Jehovah, that's the name of God, of course. So, blessed is the nation whose the God is Jehovah, and that's who we are as a people. We're under God's laws, the laws of nature, and nature's God. We're built upon the Magna Carta ultimately. I mean, we're that's kind of a shoulder that we've stood over. Our founding fathers stood upon in order to build this nation, particularly Jefferson and Madison.
Yeah. Amen to that. Thank you so much, John. Appreciate it.
Okay. So anyway, look, at the key is reading, read. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't say read Supreme Court cases, although anything that is important to you on a case that's dealing with your situation, and it's a Supreme Court ruling, and it's got some good pieces of things you can use in your case, and of course you should read that case. There are some landmark cases that you definitely should read, and and think about and study. But look we've written a lot of cases in order to bring us back to the common law. We've written lots of memorandums to bring us back to the common law. And when you're just reading through them, it's just filled with all kinds of things that you can use in all kinds of cases. Powerful stuff, gives you power and authority. And so that's the kind of stuff you want to read. And I'm sure there are other people out there writing good stuff if you can find it. But you'll find a whole boatload here on National Liberty Alliance. Look, go to our federal court cases here. Come down to our action against the judiciary right there. When you click on that, if you want to really get an education, again, you have to understand due process. Due process, you need to take up once. You find that under Education Starts here. Come down to Court Access in the Common Law. Click on that, and then it'll tell you how to enter the course. But generally, even after that, here's a further education. All these things we've written, these are all papers that we filed. All these things, all these documents that we filed in. It is, and here's a lot of memorandums that we filed into the courts. Okay, now, whenever you write, and you go back, I always like to sit on a case for as much time as I can before I file it. So if I write a paper, I'd like to sit on it for a week or two if I can, and come back to it every day and read it. Because after you read it, it's like, oh, I could have said that better. Let me do this. Or I should have added that. Or maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I should say it this way instead of that way. You want to go back and constantly go through that case over and over and over again before you actually file it. But even after that, none of us are perfect. When you do finally solidify it, and then you got what you got, and you look at things, I could have did a little better than that. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. It's just the way things are. So my point I'm trying to make is that all these memorandums here, all of them have been updated. And you can find them under Education Starts here. Come to Law, click on Memorandums of Law. And most of these have been updated memorandums right in here. Now, I got more than that. I think I did about 40 memorandums altogether. At some point, I want to go through some of them before I post whatever I have to that's left. And a lot of those memorandums I'm using in order to write the paper, which is a presentment, which becomes really an indictment on the entire federal judiciary. They all got to go, every single one of them. Clerks got to go, all bar members got to go. Prosecutors got to go, judges got to go. We have to start fresh. And there's no other way to correct our judicial system unless we're doing that. Now, they can re-enter back into the courts. I don't think there's judges, but, if they don't come in as bar members and come in as a people and they go in and learn the common law, they already know due process. They may know some titles and codes. Maybe they were specialties in certain areas, and they know particular certain codes, titles, and so they already have that knowledge for that particular situation. But they already know due process. They've already got experience articulating, their case in court. So they have all those experiences. What they have to get rid of is the bar mentality, and to stop applying these things upon the people. And they need to learn the common law, the rules of common law, which ultimately the rules of common law, to put it in a nutshell, simply put, it's common sense. Doesn't get any more difficult than that. Built upon maxims. It's called maxims of law. And that's how natural law works. Water does not run uphill. You can't argue with that. A thing similar is not necessarily the same thing. Can't argue with that. I mean, these are self-evident truths, okay? For every injury, there must be a remedy. Can't argue with that. Innocent until proven guilty. Can't argue with. These are all maxims of law. That's what maxims of law are. They're just common sense. And there's a book out there. We have a book. You can download it, Maxims of Law. Goodness, thousands. There's tens of thousands that have already been applied in the court system, and tens of thousands yet to be discovered. It's all common sense. That's all it is. Anyway.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll take our next person. Hey, let's see. Gerard, if you want to take the mic, You take the mic for a while if you want. I see you're here in the room. Let me open the mic for the next person, Kim.
Hello. Hi, this is Kim. I live in Georgia.
Okay, Pam from Georgia. Go right ahead.
Yes, I was the caller from last week.
Oh, okay.
And yes, sir. How you doing, John? Nice to meet you. My question is about. I had wrote an email that one of your hosts had read out last week, and it's pretty extensive email. It was about a home loan. Actually, it was about a home loan. I think I failed to mention that it was a home loan that I had took out years ago, like back in 2005. And actually, after I became a widow in 2011, so a lot of things took place, and I had to end up filing bankruptcy. And this bank is called Interbank. It's a home loan bank, and they have been coming after me, I mean, it's like everybody else everybody else that I put on that bankruptcy, you know, they didn't, you know, I mean, they've got their teeth in. I don't even know how to explain this, John, but these people are relentless. I think I mentioned that they levied my account, but when they did it, it was a joint account that my son and I took out together. Okay, and as we merged together, my son and I, because it's just him and I now, we merged together, we opened up accounts. So when they levied the account, they ended up taking his money. Well, I fought that back in 2017, 2016, and I went to court and I proved to them that money was not mine. It was my son. So I proved it. They had to, the judge said, hey, you know, you got to give him his money back. You know, so they made that judgment. But before I left the court, the one that was representing the bank, Interbank, it's called Interbank, they actually merged with Regions Bank. So Regions Bank successor by merger is with Interbank. Okay. She said to me, well, you know, we're going to keep coming after you. And that was the last thing I heard. So they actually levied the count again, but this time they got $5 because I don't keep money in a bank. I don't trust these big banks. And after spending 2 years in the court system, a lot of the stuff I did, a lot of the filings I did myself, like Minister of State. I went through a lot of, you know, just a lot of legal procedures. But my question is how can I stop these people from harassing me? I picked up a job, a side gig, as a banquet coordinator, okay, with a company that happens to be a big company. I did not know. I'm just a person on call, and actually it's an on-call side gig that I do as a banquet coordinator. But I found out that the company that pays me is called Compass. Okay, now they have submitted a court order for me to pay, for them to garnish anything that I make with this company. These people want to garnish my wages. So now they're just.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Try to respond to some of this stuff anyway.
Yes, please. I apologize. I'm just going on and on.
Okay, first of all, the levy is by court order, correct?
You know what? I guess
Well, that's your big problem right there. You can't guess about anything in law. You make a guess, you're going to be burnt. You're going to be burnt, and you're not going to be able to defend yourself. You have to understand every aspect of everything that's going on in that court. You read a paper and there's a word you don't understand, you need to look it up. And you don't want to, you don't want to look it up in just a regular dictionary. You want to look it up in a law dictionary. Okay.
Absolutely.
Now, looking up in a regular dictionary will help a little bit too, but you still need that the law dictionary because that gives you the real terms. Now, a levy must be done only by court order. So I got to believe they got a court order somewhere. They did something and they took you through due process. Maybe you weren't aware of it, and maybe you defaulted, and they're executing it.
Right.
You can find out. That's where you got to begin, right there, to find out what's there, what's going on. Did they try to notify you? Could they have notified you and they didn't notify you properly? You know, and that becomes that's a big problem because you already have something sealed in the court system that has a court order to it, and they're coming out after you. I don't know how they can seize anything without, you know, having a due process, a levy that's gone through the due process. So that's where you got to start. Yes, they can take your money from working somewheres, but they can only take a percentage. I don't know what the law is. Social Security, for instance, is a much lower amount than what they could take on a regular basis. How much money do you owe them?
Okay. that's the
Stop. Hold on. You got a lot of questions here. I want to try to get to a lot of these things you brought up. I'm just asking the question. How much money are they claiming you owe them?
They're claiming that I owe, with the court fee, they're claiming that I owe $34,000 from a $14,000 loan that I took out on 2005, and I paid half of it off. My husband and I paid half of it off. He's no longer here.
Okay,
so of course,
that's usury to begin with, number one. Okay, you took the loan out. You know, again, you got a lot of homework to do. You got to go back and you got to find out what's going on. If this was a foreclosure on a mortgage, it's a different thing. Now, if you filed a bankruptcy, okay, I'm going to talk a little bit that's outside your case just for educational purposes. But if you filed bankruptcy, and as long as your home, when you bought your home, was under the Homestead Act, that's what it was under, the Homestead Act, okay, then nobody can take that home. In other words, they'll sell everything off to pay off, you know, your debts, and people will get percentages, and they work all that stuff out. But they cannot take your home under the Homestead Act. Now, anybody that doesn't do it, that gets a lawyer that comes in and doesn't put you under the Homestead Act, is a brain-dead lawyer, and you should go sue them for incompetency if that did happen and you were losing a home under that, number one. Now, remember
That did happen. They did take my home.
Okay, well, let's get back to that. Okay, it depends on who took you home and when you filed bankruptcy. But look at remember who wrote the law? Who wrote the law? Bar bar attorneys wrote the law. That's who wrote. The Bar Association wrote the law. They wrote the Act. They wrote all of these different things that we've passed as law. It's all written by lawyers, and ultimately. Our association has its fingers in everything, and that's why the lawyer makes out on everything, and that's why they write things in such a way. On the Homestead Act, guess what? The mortgage company can take you home, okay? But again, now that because there's other problems with the mortgage companies, okay? Because ultimately they went to the Fed window. They have no skin in the game. And if they have no skin in the game, they have no business trying to collect money off you. But who wrote the law? Who set the system up? But even though they set it up, it's still repugnant to the Constitution. It's repugnant to the common law. It can be argued. Whether you're going to win in this environment is another thing. And remember, lawyers, in my opinion, are brain dead. They really are. And they just can't. It's like a deer caught in the headlights, and they just stand there and look at you. And then they move on. You know? That's what it's like, because when you go in there with some solid stuff, you know, the papers I write, I believe, are really rock solid. You can't argue them. It's just rock solid. Why? Because it's all law. It's common law. It's our founding fathers' quotes. It's Supreme Court rulings. It's built of maxims. It's the Constitution. And Bill of Rights, which of course is part of the Constitution. It's the Declaration of Independence. I mean, that's what we write with. And how can you argue against that? Yet these lawyers don't see it. or they don't want to see it because the game is up then, okay? So they wrote the law. That's number one. Now, they can't really, and you can make an argument and maintain an argument in court for many, many years to come before they can actually take you home, but you're already past that. Now, here's the situation, or the question I have, okay? You wrote, you took a loan out. They claim you owe $34,000. You filed bankruptcy. When did you file bankruptcy?
I filed bankruptcy in, I believe it was in 20. It was probably a couple of years after my husband passed. 2011. Let's see, I think 2013.
Did you stop? That's good enough. Roughly 2011 is fine. So when you filed bankruptcy in 2011, did you add to them these people that took the loan out on?
Yes, I add everybody that was on my back.
Okay, stop. Okay, so you added them in. And what was the conclusion of the bankruptcy? Did they conclude and take things away from you and pay some bills, or there was nothing there to take and they were just gone, or what?
Well, no, it stopped. Everything stopped. First of all, the bankruptcy.
Your problem is solved right now if you answer the question in the right way, okay? Which is the truthful way, of course. And if you did things the right way, then the question is the problem is solved. You could shut them down tomorrow. Okay, the question now is this: when you filed that in 2011, when you file a bankruptcy, you name the individuals that you have debts to. Okay, you give all information, the phone number, whatever information you have, you give that, you list it out, and then you notify these people. All these people are notified. All right, and you keep those papers, you keep them in a safe somewhere because the court doesn't keep a record of that. They're counting on that, and the lawyers are playing a game with you if you've done it the right way. And now they got to give you money back if they did it if you did it the right way. Now when the bankruptcy was over, it was up to you to send a copy of the conclusion to them. Okay. And everybody stops. They can no longer touch you for that money. It's over with. Whatever the conclusion of that court is, maybe you had like for instance, they can't take your house. They can't take your car. Okay, if you have 2 or 3 cars, they can take them. But there's only a few things that they can't take. All right. But the bottom line is, if they say, well, we found $10,000 worth of value, and they take that away from you, and you owe $200,000 to your creditors or whatever, they make the percentage breakup, pay them off, they're gone, they're done, they're out of the way. They go write it off now when they file for with the IRS their tax. Okay.
Was the house foreclosed upon before the bankruptcy?
No, it wasn't.
So who took the house? Who got the house? And who stole the house?
No, before we get into that problem or situation, we have to deal with the bankruptcy. The bottom line is the mortgage. If the people that you owe the mortgage to was coming out after you with a bankruptcy, they've set the law up that they'll be able to take that away with you, Homestead Act or not. Doesn't matter. They're going to do it anyway. So whatever happened with that, I don't know. But here's the key thing. This bank or loan company or whatever it is,
it was a home improvement loan.
Okay, fine. If you filed them as a debtor in your bankruptcy, you should have a paper in your safe somewhere. You pull it out with their name on it. You send them a copy and tell them, leave me alone. And if they've already taken money back, I want my money back, because they're coming out after you illegally. Lawyers, they love their money. This is what it's all about. They're so used to all of the law breaking and the protection that they have, that they're just out of control, totally out of control, and they will do anything to come out after you for the money. They figure, well, she doesn't know anything's going on. Let's take whatever money we can get from her. And they're hitting you up, and they're chasing, and they're doing this and they're doing that, but it's all unlawful. Now, if they have a levy, where did they get the levy? And if that levy is unlawful, for instance, they come out after you, and maybe you that's where you got to find out where this is coming from, because they had to go to a court to get a levy in order for them to kind of come and take your money from your income or try to take things away from you, seize accounts. It's all got to be done by the sheriff. They have to have a levy. It's got to come from a court order, and And you got to find that where it's at. And if they did that, even if you defaulted on that, the bottom line is they've done this unlawfully. That's a criminal act. Do you understand? You got to find out where that's coming from. Now, Gerard wants to talk about the house. Go ahead, Gerard. I don't know where she's at with the house. Well, she said she lost it. Was that a mortgage foreclosure you lost it?
Well, there's a lot I would like to say about the house because I actually filed a lot of.
Was that a mortgage foreclosure?
It ended up being a foreclosure.
Okay, a mortgage foreclosure.
Yeah, a mortgage foreclosure.
That's the whole story now.
Okay.
And was the sale of the house part of the settlement of the bankruptcy? That's what I want to know.
It was in the bankruptcy.
When they took the house, somebody sold it. And did the proceeds of that go towards the debt bankruptcy?
A house cannot be brought up in a bankruptcy if it's under the Homestead Act. Your debtors cannot get that. They cannot take that away from you. The only one that could take that away from you is the mortgage companies, and therein is the problem because the Bar Association wrote the law for the sole purpose of putting money into the pockets of lawyers and judges, okay? So if they would have to come out after you, they can continue to come out after you and take your house to a mortgage foreclosure. But all mortgage foreclosures are non-judicial foreclosures, which makes them unlawful, and that's a whole different other problem.
Right.
There's a lot involved. There's a lot going on here. And
there is.
Really.
Yeah. Yes, John. There is a lot going on here, and I everything that you have said and what you stand for, and on your website. I believe in all that. Common law is the law of the land. I know that lawyers are just you're right. They are like deer in headlights because there was a lot of stuff that I had studied about land and property, et cetera, and I brought it up to this one lawyer, and she had no idea what I was talking about. I said, "Well, it's right here, ma'am." And she's like, "Oh, really?" So lawyers are it's like they're just like you said, they don't care. They don't care about nothing.
And their attitude is, I paid $200,000 for my education, and you're going to come and tell me that I'm wrong? Okay, that's
exactly. And I had one lawyer when I filed for a minister of a state. I had one lawyer out of all the lawyers that I spoke to that was very upfront with me. He said, "If you want to do a minister of a state, I can tell you exactly how to do it." He said, "Because I will charge you $1,500 where you can do it for $300." He told me how to go to the probate bank. He told me how to file it. He told me step by step what to do, and that's exactly what I did. And he was exactly right. It cost me like $300. Of course, this was back then. This was back in 2013, 2012, 2013. And so.
What state are you in? Are you in New York State?
No, I'm in Georgia. I'm in the state of Georgia.
Not every state has the Homestead Act, John.
Okay, yeah, I didn't know.
That's New York State definitely has it because when
Gotcha.
What's his name was in there, he put it in. The Republican governor, the last Republican governor we had.
Right.
On your search, put in the question, does Georgia have the Homestead Act? And you'll get the answer very quickly, and then you'll know.
And then you gotta actually go and sign it though. You gotta declare it.
Well, yeah. Any lawyer that files the paperwork for you, because when you do your closings and everything, the lawyers are all involved, and when they file it, they need to be filing it under the Homestead Act. And like I said, if the lawyer filed it and didn't put it under the Homestead Act, I mean, you go after them for just neglect or incompetency or so on and so forth.
Well, I know I put my property on the Homestead Act, but when I went to do it, it wasn't under there. I had bought this from a bank. And then I started to have some trouble, and I went and did as a matter of fact, you helped me with it, John. I mean, this is
done at the closing. Now, you can only put one on the Homestead Act. I'm sure you know that, right? You can only put the home you're living in on the Homestead.
Absolutely, right. But what I'm saying is the bank should have done it for me, and they didn't. And I don't know that they do it automatically.
No,
I did it myself.
You have a lawyer for the closing. That's the person who should have done it.
Right, and they didn't do it. I did it years later when I started having some problems, and I read about the Homestead Act, and I found out it wasn't filed. So I went in and I declared it. I filled out the affidavit and declared it a homestead because that's what's required.
Okay, well, that's a lesson for everyone that's listening right now. If you own a home, you need to go down to Real Property. Real Property is an office that's in the county building, and you look for Real Property, and you go in there and you look up the paperwork. Well, actually, no, you just have to go to the Records Department because that's where the files. You go down to the Records Department. They'll look up under, the mortgages that went through that, or the sales and who owns the house. And in there, you get a copy of all your paperwork and discover whether you're under the Homestead Act. And if you're not, you need to put it under right away. That's simple. So don't be in a situation where you're not under it. I guess first you have to find out if your state is under the Homestead Act. I was unaware of that. I thought every state was, but okay.
Well, they already sold their house, so obviously it wasn't under it.
Well, I can tell you this. I did claim my land. I mean, I went to the archives,
Hold
and
on.
okay.
Well, a minute. The point is that they took your home under a foreclosure, right?
Yes.
Okay, Homestead Act is null and void because they write the law, and they did it that way so they can take your home, put money in the pockets of lawyers and judges. You understand?
Right.
Number of things.
I know they all in the same bed. They all sleep together. I know this. I learned this years ago, back in 2011. I learned a lot, like what they do and what they don't do and how they do it. And like the bankruptcy system, it is designed for you to fail. It really is. It's a broken system. I know it. You know, the system is totally broken.
And if they can't win by their law, they'll just make it up, and all too often judges go along with it. And that's the problem we have. The courts are so corrupt, they're worthless. But filing a case, right, is still important, even if you lose, because on the other side of devolution, you can get your restitution. Now, remember, are you familiar with the SESQ accounts? Are you familiar with going to the Fed window? Are you familiar with the fact that the bank you use or whatever company you use, they went to the Fed window, they got the money, all they did, they got their point or two or half a point or whatever it was on the sale of the property. That's what they get, and they're out of there. They're not in part of the contract. So although they send you a bill every month to pay that mortgage, and the piece goes out back to, I guess, one way or another, it goes back to the Fed window somehow. But the bottom line is a portion of that, of course, goes to the bank, and they're filling their pockets. Lawyers are filling their pockets, and they're making money off you every month, plus with the high interest, compounded, and so on and so forth. It just goes on and on and on. But they don't have skin in the game. You have no agreement with them. They have no standing in that court. That's my argument if I'm in court for that. They have no standing. They have no skin in the game. Therefore, they have no standing. They were just the in-between person who set the game up. And so, and it was all taken out under your SESQ account, which is another con job that plays into the system. It just goes on and on.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. So I guess what I need to do is I need to gather up my bankruptcy papers.
No, just go through that one bankruptcy papers with that one person, and you need to go and serve it on them, give them 30 days, give you your money back. They broke the law. That was a criminal activity, and let's fix the problem or I'm going to court. And if they don't fix the problem, you go back and you take them into court, and you make your argument in court.
Okay, because I have my bankruptcy papers. And well, when I filed bankruptcy here in Georgia, you put everybody on that. Once you file it, you put all those names on there, all the people that you want, the creditors, the mortgage company, etc.
Right, but also, hold on, each form they give you, okay? And you not only make your list, each one of those people on that list you put on a form. If you have 30 people, you have 30 forms. Same form, you're just writing up the information. And it's a notice of the bankruptcy. Everything's written up for you. It's a form. All you got to do is put the information into the individual it's going to and mail it to them. Certified mail is the best way to go. I know I did one many, many years ago and did it certified mail. And the bottom line is you just pull that out, that one form with that company's name on it, and you pull that out, and you send them a notice in demand, give them 30 days to make things right, and put a copy of the bankruptcy in there and their notification, and they committed a criminal act.
Okay, because I don't recall having like 5 different forms for 5 different people. I just remember that all of them was on one form when I went to the court and filed this bankruptcy. So I'm.
You do this yourself? The lawyer do this for you?
No, actually, I went to the court and did it myself.
Oh,
I went and filed it. I went and filed it to the court. Yeah, I went up there to the court system and filed it.
You may have made a fatal mistake by not putting that paper out. There is no record in the court. They tell you we don't keep a record of all these things. As far as you got to keep your record. If you wanna, someone comes out after you, you have to have that paperwork to show that they were served with this in certified mail, and here's a copy. Okay, you got the signature and everything. Everything's there. Okay.
Right.
Now, if you don't have that, then you do have a problem. Then
okay. I'm going to have to go back and look.
Let me say this. You failed in the part of the due process, a big part of necessity for the whole process of going through bankruptcy. So I don't know. You need to go back and revisit that and see what's going on.
I do. Now, like I said, here in Georgia, you can claim your land. Okay? They can take the wood. Okay, the house, yeah, that's wood. But the land is what I claim, because when you get, okay, I guess I should go. I've already taken up a lot of time about this.
Deeper than you got enough problems to work with and figure out, so you need to do a lot of work.
But I filed that in the court system. But that's another story to tell you, John. That's just something else, because
I never thought that could be a problem here, because you see, if they come in and they foreclose on your home that you built on a piece of land that you outright already own, that's kind of a legal problem. I never even thought about that.
Yeah, I went into the archives, and what I did is they have a lot, okay, and these lots are so old, like they go back years and years and years. Like my lot goes back to the 1800s.
Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is this: when you went to get your loan, did you build your house or did you buy a house?
Yes, I had it built.
So you bought the property first and you owned it outright?
Yes. That's how. Well, what happened? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Something. Then you built that house on that property.
She owns the land. You know, my parents bought a house in Hawaii, and we didn't own the land because they would only give you a 50-year renewable lease. They knew back then the land was valuable. So you might have built the house and put the house, but ultimately the original landowner still owned the house.
Right. So what happened was,
she's in a good position here. If she did that, they're screwed.
You got a lot of homework to do.
Yeah, I did. What I did, right? Yeah, what I did, my house, okay, when builders come in and they build these houses, right, in these communities, they have to buy the land in order to, in order to build these houses, correct?
Banks don't want to loan you money on a house that you don't own the land, because it's very hard for them to foreclose on just a house.
Right. Okay. But what I did...
Hold on. You have a situation, because you're going into different places that you don't have to go to.
I'm sorry.
You're making the point that you own the land, and then you built the house on the land that you own, so you got the mortgage on that house. To build that house, you probably got a construction loan, and then they gave you a mortgage. Now, when they took that, they also took the land. You need to go back for your money.
Right. Yes. And so, anyway, I got a lot more questions about that as well, John, but I've taken up so much of time already, and I know somebody else is probably waiting to come in on this call. So I guess I'm just going to have to go back, and I'm going to have to look at all my papers and my bankruptcy papers, et cetera, and just see where I went wrong. Like you said, the court. You say they don't keep a record of this. So
that's what I understand. I was told that when we went through one with a bankruptcy I did years ago, and they mentioned that you need to keep that paper, put it in the safe someplace, because that's it's got all the seals on it, and it's proof, and it's proof that it's been mailed. As a matter of fact, if I recall, they actually did the mailing out. Okay, so you
right.
had the papers out. They put the stamps and the seals on it. They mailed the copy out to the people, and you should have gotten a copy.
Right.
So that's what. But that we got to move on. We got 2 other people in the queue.
Yes,
if
sir.
you get back into the queue again, maybe we could talk. But we have 2 other people.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We will definitely talk again. I will be back. I will be back. I learned a lot, and I learned a lot on your site, and you've got a lot of information to learn from all those classes, which is amazing. I was looking at all. That is just amazing. And I love to read, by the way. I've got books galore. I love to read. So reading the law would not be a problem.
Have you read the book, The Real Thomas Jefferson?
No, I have not read that. But you know what? I like what Thomas Jefferson has to say about banks.
He's almost the founding father, him and Madison. Of course, they all are important, but they're the ones.
Yes, they are.
That put this whole thing together. How about the real George Washington or the real Benjamin Franklin?
No, but I do have America's God and Country. I do have that.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say is you should try to get these books. They're put out there.
What are they?
It's nccs.net, I believe. Okay.
It's called what?
Let me look in one of the books. I think that's it.
Okay. I'm sorry, because we're getting an echo here. Sorry.
All right. I think it's nccs.
NCCS dot what?
Net, N-E-T.
Okay, .net.
NCS.net. That's for the National Center of Constitutional Studies. Okay. Go to that website. There's books there. They're very cheap. They don't charge a lot of money. Their concern is education. They want to educate the people. And you go there and you start looking at the books. Get all the books on our founding fathers. Not all. There's not that many of them, but there's George Washington. There's Benjamin Franklin. There's of course Thomas Jefferson. And these are books put together by going into the archives to see who these people really were, by getting the conversations of the day, communication between news reports, all kinds of things, and in order to deliver to you who these people were, what they really believed. And Thomas Jefferson is one of the most amazing people that I've ever studied, save Jesus Christ.
Amen.
So, anyway, we got to move on, right? Okay. Paula, thank you. Sherwood, it looks like, from Arizona,
John?
correct?
Yes, I'm Beth.
Okay.
Well, I don't want to keep up. I don't want to take a lot of your time, and I understand that you are not into doing HOA case. But I really need your help. What I'm looking for is if you could just give me some guidance. What option do I have facing trial? Because I've been studying. I got a lot of books from you, and I have all kinds of books. But the thing is, reading all those books, I don't have enough time. And also, English being my second languages, and I also work. So I just cannot squeeze myself to get into everything. So I really, really need the help, and I'm willing to pay the, fees, whatever it needs to be, to make things work. I am willing to pay the fees and then go through whatever needs to be done. So I'm asking you help with guidance. Can you send me to somebody, or can you do it, or whoever? I really, really need the help. So I'm not explaining too good of myself, but I have the court case, and I have no option. When I go to every time I go to the deposition or mediation, they don't even They don't even look at the materials. They don't even ask me questions. I don't exist. And so the reason I've been waiting for the Nesada is because maybe I have a little bit of a chance of the Nesada. Other than that, there's no point for me to even go meet with those people.
Okay.
And I don't have to explain this. You already know all that. So if you can just give some guidance about who I needed to go see, or is somebody who expert, maybe you know.
All right. Well, here's the thing. Hold on a minute. Okay, I can't do it. Unfortunately, my time, I don't even have enough time to do what I'm doing. I mean, we need so much help.
I understand that. I really do. But if you could, I'm
there's a bigger problem. We can't charge to do that because that's practicing.
Well, I'm going to make a no.
Well, I could, but I can't.
I'm going to make a contribution.
Right, hold on.
That I have a right to.
Let me answer some of your questions. Hold on a minute. Let me answer some of your basic question here before we go any further, because we're really going around the same thing over and over again. I can't do it because I don't have the time. It is true that they don't like people to come in and represent people, but I can do that, and I have done it already, and it's an uphill battle. But nevertheless, because there's an ex-friend on the federal law, and also a lot of states even have that kind of information that you can find within their laws, like the next friend type thing. And so you can go in and take care of your own business. You can represent an entire group of people, an organization. But you can't go into the civil law. You got to bring it into the common law, and that's another struggle. So that's a problem. So the only person I can send you to that might be able to help is Brent Allen Winters. If you're looking on, are you on the internet or are you on the phone?
I am in front of the screen.
Are you?
I'm sitting in front of the computer and I'm on the phone with you.
Okay, so you see what's on my screen right now?
Yes.
This is commonlawyer.com. Guy's name is Brent Allen Winters. He wrote the book, The Excellence of the Common Law. I learned a lot from this man. And
could you spell his name, please?
Brent Allen Winters. B-R-E. Are you looking right here? Is his name? Are you looking on the internet? Are you seeing my page? I'm showing.
Oh, your page. Okay, wait a minute. Let me go up to your page.
Are you able to watch my screen? I'm sharing my screen right now. Can you see it? Because you look like you're on a phone. I don't know.
I'm on a Join Our Live Monday Night Open Forum. That's where I'm at.
Okay. Do you see my screen?
No, I don't see
my computer screen. Okay. Here, you go to commonlawyer.com and go to his website. You'll find contact information. Send him an email, give him a call, whatever he gives out on that his website, and ask him if he can assist you or if he knows anybody that can assist you, that you're in Arizona. I don't remember where Brent lives. Does anybody remember what state Brent's in?
I don't.
I think he's out west.
I think he's in Ohio.
No, I think he's out further out west, a little south. I don't remember. But in any event, give him a call. Maybe he knows somebody, or maybe he can do something for you. I don't know. And
how do you spell his name?
Go to commonlawyer.com.
commonlawyer.com.
And his name is on the internet. It's his website. It's Brent, B-R-E-N-T, Allen Winters, W-I-N-T-E-R-S. Brent Allen Winters is the author of the book, The Excellence of the Common Law.
What's the name of the book?
Lawyer, and he can practice law in many places, but he's not a bar attorney. He wasn't bar taught. He may have taken the bar exam. I don't know. But I know certain places he probably can't do things according to, the bar. Again, they control the entire judicial system. They've shut everything down. Okay, so that's the best I can help you with. Okay?
Is the best you can do?
Yeah, I can't. Obviously, I can't represent you. First of all, I'm not in Arizona. Second of all, I'm way too busy. I don't even have the time to do what I'm doing, and I'm doing it. And I live, breathe, and sleep what I'm doing, and still can't keep up.
I understand, and what I'm very grateful for what you're doing for all the people that who needs help in this situation. So I'm very grateful for your passion, and you're doing great. You're doing really great. But I'm just very lost, and I don't know what to do.
Well, you do look at you need
I am just lost. I don't know what to do.
You need a lawyer that's not going to rip you off. It sounds like, because I remember our conversations in the past, you spent a lot of money on lawyers, I believe you said, and it's a ridiculous amount, and you still haven't gotten anywhere.
I filed at the Bar Association, but they don't even want to look at it.
Yeah.
They know the problem exists, but they don't want to be bothered with it.
Yeah.
And then I've been through a lot of interviews with the other attorneys, but they said that you came to us early on. They would have took a couple of weeks or maybe a couple of months, and not years going on now. It's more than 5 years old, and they won't fix the holes on the roof. It's very simple things. It's a HOS problem, and they're not doing anything, and they're dumping all the problems on me, and they won't give me a chance at the deposition or mediation or anything else. I just don't have any options.
Let me tell you, this is why it's so important. Look at Americans. Every American should be a lawyer. Every person should be a lawyer.
I agree. Yes, I
even
totally
if you
agree.
Can't articulate
yourself,
hold on. If you're not a good articulator and you can't articulate yourself, at least you can write your papers, and you can still seek counsel, someone who can articulate your points, and you can correct things as they go along, or whatever the case may be. But people do need to be able to be trained in how to really articulate themselves in a court of law, or for any kind of a thing, to stand up and give a speech, or whatever the case may be. We should be taught that at a young age. I know my son was.
I totally agree with you.
Well, but the thing is everybody should know the law. Our heritage is in the law, and our heritage is liberty. And therefore, by not knowing the law, you don't understand your liberty. You can't even know when they're breaking the law. You can look at what they write, all this stuff all these laws they make, and all the things that they do to make these statutes and different things and apply it against the people. People have no clue. It has nothing to do with them. This is all because we're ignorant to our heritage. Our heritage is in the law. So if you don't know the Constitution, which is the foundation, particularly the Declaration of Independence, and then, of course, the Constitution with the Capstone Bill of Rights, which is the key to all law, all American law, the key is the Bill of Rights, because that is your measuring stick whether something is logical or lawful, so to speak. Again, logic and law, common sense and law, it's all the same thing. That's your measuring stick. When they violate an unalienable right, you read their law. Is it violating anything that's in that Bill of Rights, and anything that extends from that, which is, of course, Amendment 10. Okay, we're going to move on to our next person. Okay.
Can I have one quick question, please? Because I'm trying on the web page for the commonlawyer.com.
No. Common Lawyer. Oh, yeah, it is .com. I'm taking the other one. Commonlawyer.com. Yes.
I did that, but nothing. It doesn't even what do you call it? Doesn't even open up the site. Did you spell it? I see the Common Lawyer, but it's not.
Hold on.
It doesn't upload.
Hold on. Maybe you got a bad spelling. Let me spell it. COMMONLAWYER.com. It's open up on my page right now.
Mine is not opening up. It's
I don't know why it doesn't open up.
Yeah, I put in commonlawyer.com, and then I got the global. It's not global. It's a circle thing going on. It's not downloading, or it's not uploading, whatever you call it.
There may be a problem at the moment. I got to move on to the next caller, but that may be just an internet problem. Just try a little later, okay? But you should be able to get through it. If you have to, put it in your search bar, commonlawyer.com, and see what happens, or just Common Lawyer, in your search bar, then look to see what it shows up. And you want to get commonlawyer.com.
Okay.
Okay, I got to move on to the next person. Okay?
Okay. Thank you much.
Okay, you're welcome. Okay, Los Angeles, it looks like. What's your first name? 323 number.
Yeah, actually, Brandon Irish, but I'm in Arizona, so I'm using a Google Voice line. But yeah, I'm in Pinal County, Arizona, and I'm very eager to start what's it called? The
safety?
commission. Yeah, exactly. So the committee of safety. And anyhow, and I just stumbled onto your site yesterday. So I'm totally green, but I'm totally pumped up about all of this because this is, the kind of information that I've been looking for. And anyhow.
You're in California.
What was that?
You're in California.
I'm in Arizona.
Okay, Arizona. Let me click on it. What county are you in Arizona?
Pinal County.
Pinal County.
Yeah, I talked to Ed this morning.
Okay.
He was the guy listed as the contact for this district or whatever.
Okay. Yep.
And he said, yeah.
Are you close to any of these counties? Are you able to see my screen sharing or no?
No, I'm actually on the phone. That's why.
Tell me if this is
coming up.
Tell me if this is near your county. Okay, ready? Brandon County, Cassandra County. Oh no, I'm in the wrong thing. Those are names. I'm sorry. I guess there's an Arizona County. Coconino County, Gila County, Gila, Maricopa County, Mohan.
Yeah, I'm next to I'm by Maricopa, Maricopa, Gila, Pinal, Pima.
Okay. Let me tell you what you do. Listen to me, okay? Listen. Go to our website, nationalliberyalliance.org. Go to directory. Click on directory, okay?
Yeah.
I don't know if you can do it now, but make notes if you can't. And then you scroll down and you click on your state, Arizona, okay? And when you show up Arizona, there's 463 members and 15 counties. Now, you'll see the names of people and their phone numbers that are building, either they're starting or they already got one going, committees of safety. There's one in Gila County, Maricopa County, and there's other, Yuma, Pima, Pima, Mojave. I guess these are all Indian names or something, huh?
Mojave.
So anyway, you call these people up. You can call these people up and see if they got a committee of safety going yet, or if they're meeting, just a couple of people are meeting, preparing to create one. Whatever they're doing, I don't know. But it's especially if they have one going, get the information, visit their committee of safety, tell them what you're doing, that you live in another county next door, you want to do one also, but you'd like to participate a little bit with them and see what they're doing. Maybe they can help you, give you some clues, and so on and so forth.
Sure. No, I talked to Ed this morning, and when I click on directory and go to Arizona and all of that, the only thing that comes up is COS leaders. So I'm not, it does show 463 members and all of that, but
COS, hold on. COS leaders are the committee of safety leaders within those counties that are building committees of safety.
Yeah, there isn't one in Pinal County. That's why when I talked to Ed this morning, he confirmed that there isn't one in Pinal County, and this is why I'm eager to
You're not listening though. Go visit one in the county next door to you. Give them a call. Give this guy, if it's Maricopa, if you're close to that, guy's name is Reverend Benjamin, so he's a Christian guy. His phone number is 928-499-1807. Give him a call. Say, hey, this is so-and-so, and I'm over here in the next county over. I see you looking to build a committee of safety? Do you have it up and going yet? What's going on? Get some information. Find out. You can work together, because at some point in time you need to work with other counties. Well, you build one in your county, but you need to work with other counties, because you're working together to take your state back or your counties back, and ultimately the whole government back.
Sure. So my question is I was going over the start a committee paperwork and everything, and as far as the charter that's filed, and the fact that you need a treasury on there. So my question was, if you file this charter or whatever, would that allow you to go set up a bank account for the committee?
Hold on. Let's go through this, okay? If you go under Start a Committee of Safety, you come down to Handbooks, Videos, and Tools. Again, if you start right off the top and follow the breadcrumb trail, eventually you'll get to this page. Now, on this page, you will find you've got the charter, so you must have been to this page. You've got the COS Organizing Handbook. You want to click on that. It's a 66-page PDF downloadable. Okay, or you can buy the handbook or whatever it was selling it for $6-7 on Amazon. I forget and that you can find over at Welcome. If you come to Welcome, you come down to Books by John Daresh, and then you can find these handbooks, a lot of these handbooks, if that's what you want. But you can get it for free. Download on as a PDF. Where was that? Oh, here it is. Okay.
No.
So this will give you details, specific details on how to build a committee of safety. Okay, go through this book and follow the process. When you meet up with somebody, you get 2 people going, you have them download the book, and then you're working together. Next thing you have 3 people. Maybe you're meeting on Zoom occasionally. Maybe you're meeting at a coffee shop that you're close by. Whatever the case may be. When you get anywhere between 6 and 12 people, then you have enough people to actually do some work, and at that point now you can go and you can let me go back here. You now can do your charter, okay? You could do your resolutions, and you follow the process of the handbook. There's a plan on a step-by-step, when to visit the sheriff, what your first meeting with your sheriff should be in his office, maybe 10 minutes, nothing more than that, which really you're giving him a copy at that point. You're going to give him a copy of the handbook, of your charter and your resolution, and you're going to give them a copy of Government by Consent. You might want to buy also the handbook for sheriffs. We have a sheriff's handbook also.
Sure.
You could do the PDF download on that also, but when it comes to giving it to the sheriff, it's more impressive on the individual when they see it in a book. Okay, so you want to definitely get them Government by Consent and maybe the sheriff's handbook. You might even want to get them a couple of constitutional handbooks. They're pretty cheap. You can get them from nccs.net. You can buy them really cheap. I think it's like 40 cents a piece if you buy 100 at a time, something like that. So when you visit the sheriff, your first meeting is a very short meeting. It's an introduction. You're leaving him with plenty of paperwork. You're leaving him with a book. And you say, look, we're organizing a committee of safety. We'd like to invite you to come down and meet with us maybe in a month or two. Let's try, we'll give you a call and set up a date maybe. But meanwhile, this is who we are. And, and now he's going to look at this and he's going to see you as constituents and someone to back him up and help get him into office. That's what he's going to see when he goes through this book. And then now you're educating him because you want him to get educated in the common law, which I'm sure he's totally ignorant to. Maybe not, but probably is totally ignorant.
In Arizona, I would suspect, yes, ignorant.
Yeah. So now you got this book, okay. You got 3 books you're going to give him. We'll try to get him. One is the Constitution, the other is Government by Consent, and the other one, of course, is the Sheriff's Handbook. Now, the Sheriff's Handbook, for instance, let me go to that.
I'm just quickly scrolling through all of the stuff, and that was my main question because, I'm also a big fan of the Express Trust, and that's where I was wondering if we could set up the
we'll talk about that. We get into a little bit of that, but we're going to get more specific a little later. There's really no reason to really create an account for the Committee of Safety. You should be all cash. You have a treasurer who holds the cash, keep an accountant. Every meeting once a month. In the beginning, you're going to learn a lot of meetings, but eventually it's once a month. They give an account. Every meeting, they give an accountant of the monies, what they spent. They give an accounting every month. And but you can get this County Sheriff's Common Law Handbook, and that's $6.99 on Amazon. That's something you want to give them. This should impress the sheriff. When this sheriff starts to look at these books, and believe me, we've got lots of footnotes. We prove the fact that what we're saying is the law. It's written you can find that in the footnotes where we get this information from. But in any event, the point is you're empowering him, and he should see that and realize, wow, I'm empowering. I need to get deeper into this. Got to get him.
The situation here in Pinal County is Mark Lamb is actually a good sheriff who cares about the Constitution.
He passed away.
Anyway, he's running for Senate now, and so now it's up in the air. That's why I'm kind of trying to be quick about this. I would like to get this set up with Mark Lamb still in office, because I know he'll be a supporter of this. If the Democrat candidate gets elected, then we're going to have problems.
Yeah, he's a good guy. He knows exactly what's going on. And he's known for a long, long time that there are Marxist, communists, or whatever kind of name you want to put onto them, progressives, I guess, that are here to take this nation down. He's aware of the New World Order, and he's a constitutional guy. He knows. So
I think he read Operation Vampire Killer 2000 too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So anyways, that's why I would like to I'm trying to crash course this thing so that I can hopefully get this all, set up and everything while he's still in office, because I know that we'll get support. And then all I can just hope is that, we don't get the Democrat guy. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but I've listened to some of the stuff that he's written down, and he's just another corporate shill. If he gets elected, then we.
But just remember one thing: there are a lot of Republicans that are just as bad as Democrats. So we got to be careful.
Oh, sure.
People, and we got a lot of enemies, as I'm sure you realize that we call them rhinos, Republican in name only, because they really are Democrats, and they've infiltrated and they're working with the Democrats, but they just get Republicans.
Yeah, it's a one-party system in truth, man. They're all buddies behind the scenes. It's like watching pro wrestling, as far as I'm concerned.
Well, we need to make it a zero-party thing.
I agree. Totally agree. That's why I was all pumped up when I stumbled onto this. Like, I've been getting, watching a lot of, Carl Miller videos and stuff on the Constitution.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Him too.
Yeah, no, he's a great guy, but that's how I, fortunately stumbled onto your website and everything, and I was just like, oh man, wow, you know what I mean? Treasure trove of information. That's why I'm all pumped up and excited, because this is exactly what I want to do. I'm totally against the evil empire. I'm a King James Bible believing Christian, and that's why I'm, totally against everything that's going on right now. And I love, all of the information.
If you're interested in the Bible, we have Bible studies every Wednesday at 7:30 right here in this room. So if you want to join us, we're in the book of Matthew right now. I think we're still in chapter 10, but we got the recordings. If you wanted to, if you go under Education Comes Here, go to Bible Studies, you can click on the Gospel of Matthew, and we've got all the recordings. We're on part, let's see where we're at right now. I think 20-something, if I remember.
Yeah, no, I've listened to a few of your videos, and I love the fact that you open with Scripture, man. That's why I'm like, these are my peeps right here. We're about ready to get down. So, yeah, I've already got a really good, solid little crew that's all about forming this committee of safety.
Well, that's what you need. Psalms 33, remember, blessed is the nation whose God is Jehovah, is the Lord. So, with that, we'll come
For me, it's there's one name given that's above every name, and that's the name Jesus. So
Right.
that's where, for me, anyways, that's my position.
If somebody, Jesus has many names: Prince of Peace, King of Kings, Jehovah. As a matter of fact, that was the very thing that caused them to kill him, because in his last days, right before he was crucified, he let the scribes and the Pharisees know. He said, "I am Jehovah." You read it, the word Lord, but of course he was saying, "I am Jehovah," and that was it. They had to kill this guy. That was their attitude. They didn't recognize who he was.
That's what I point out to atheists all of the time, is that, look, man, you got some serious facts you got to deal with, because, the bottom line is there's no way to deny that Jesus was a real historical person. Number two, he was charged with blasphemy for claiming to be God the Creator, and was crucified for it. Now, if his death, burial, and resurrection actually occurred, then you've got to deal with this fact, because Jesus warned about hell more than anyone in the Bible. So you might want to take this seriously.
Amen. And he is the king of our courts, so we should know him. But if you want to talk about these things, we do have a Wednesday night program, 1 hour. Right, we did the book of Revelation. We're doing Matthew now. I don't know whether I'm going to do topical after that, or maybe another book. I was thinking Psalms. I've been looking into Psalms a lot lately, and Psalms is kind of difficult to teach, I think, but I'd like to do an overview of Psalms, and I'm thinking about it. But anyway, we're in Matthew chapter 10 right now. With that, we're going to close down the end of the program.
Real quick though. So would you? Would it be okay or be a good idea to structure the Committee of Safety under an express trust?
No. Basically, a Committee of Safety, you're the committeeman. That's what you are. Where it gets involved with needing some kind of a trust in order to have a bank account, then you're going to want to do something with that for the administrators, grand jury or trial jury administrators, or the jury administrators. We're setting that up across the nation also, which will be connected to the Committees of Safety. There is a relationship there. But in any event, that's a paid job. It's a full-time job. It is a career, and it's a position that really is a lot of power, and we have to come with that sense of honor, justice, and mercy. So got to be careful with that. But they're going to need a place to put the money that they get from the state.
Yeah, I don't like cash. I don't like the idea of anybody just handling cash. That's why I would prefer to have some kind.
I don't know. I definitely wouldn't. Here's your problem. Here's the big problem. You don't want to do an Inc. Forget about that. Okay.
Definitely not.
You want to do a personal name with a DBA. Forget about that. You're going to want to do a trust. The problem with a trust is trying to get a bank that'll open up an account with a trust. That's a problem. And
well, we have a credit union that's working with us on express trusts already. That's why.
But again, hold on. You don't want to do an incorporated trust. You want to do a common law trust, and that
is a common law trust. Yes.
Okay. Well, if you need to learn a little more, we do have information under Education Starts Here. Go to law, and I believe, let's see where it's at. I think it's under court forms and process. You'll find information, the handbooks on how to create. Yeah, it is. Creating a common law trust. Okay, so we got a lot of information on that. I did
this
a common
law trust. This is on your website? Sorry?
Huh?
This is on your website?
Yeah, go to Education Starts Here, highlight that. Come down to law, highlight that. And then come over to court forms and process. And then click on that. And you'll find it towards the top of the page. You come down, it says Common Law Trust. There's a lot of information here. You want to be careful putting it together. You're not going to reveal certain information, and that's what sometimes the bank wants to see, because if you do a corporate trust, okay, you're going to reveal information. But this is a trust. You don't want to reveal anybody any information.
Maybe I could, I don't know how familiar you are with express trusts. So, but I mean, it is a common law trust. That's why I love it.
Is there a handbook on that?
Yeah, I was going to say I can email you the handbook on it.
Yeah, email it to mail.
Oh, never mind. You have it right here. Weiss's Trust Handbook.
Oh, well, okay. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff here. So.
Yeah, no, it looks like you have it right here. Weiss's Trust Handbook. That's exactly what what I'm talking about.
All right, so you'll have plenty of information here, and if you want to do a trust, but you're going to be collecting money and you're going to be spending it quickly on certain necessities. I don't know that you're really going to pile up a lot of money, but if you do, okay, that's one thing, of course. So.
Well, just so you know, my background has totally been in sales. My partner that's going to get involved with this too. We're both, we both got a heavy background in sales, so we've already got our little brains, scheming on how to, really get the word out to a lot of people quickly. As far as I'm already like, man, I want to, build some kind of little flyers that we can sit at Walmart and hand out to start waking people up.
We got a flyer we put together. If you want that, you can go to Start a Committee of Safety, come back to the handbooks and videos and tools, and if you come down, there is a two-sided flyer. I think it's pretty good. If you create a flyer, send us a copy. We'd like to maybe put it up also, offer people more flyers.
Is it this ham flyer that says ham flyer?
Say what again?
On your web. Oh, Committee of Safety flyer. Got it. There it is.
Well, let's see. Which one? The best is the two-sided flyer. Let's see what we have on the Committee of Safety flyer. I'm not sure where that's at. There's two-sided flyer. We have it in two places, okay? But this is good because we put this together for handouts. It's two-sided. You can still file it in triplets or double, whatever. But the thing is, it basically reveals County Committee of Safety Will Save America. There's a lot of information on that on one page. And then what to do now, where to begin, and what to do after. We're giving them instructions.
Nice. Okay, I pulled it up. That's good.
Okay, we got to go. We're past our time. Good talking with you. Hopefully we'll see you again next week maybe. And if you want, join our Bible study this Wednesday. Like I said, we're in Matthew chapter 10. I think we're in verse 16, somewhere around there. Okay,
and what time is that?
7:30 Eastern Time, every Wednesday.
Got it.
Okay, with that, we're going to end the program. Thanks for coming. Lord willing, we'll see everyone next week. Good night, everybody.
Yep.